So I'm so excited that you're going to lead a meditation tonight. I got a little taste
Yeah,
of one the other day with the chakras in the hands.
yes, we have little chakra energy centers. I like energy points in the tips of our hands and especially in the palm of our hand. That's where we can access the light for healing. So the prana or the ki chi, the life force energy or the light force, whatever you want to call it, it's much the same thing. I think sometimes people get confused. It causes confusion. All these different names for different things. It's a bit like different religions have different names for God, and there's only one, and science now. We're so lucky to have neuroscience and science backing this up and bridging spirituality with people like Jodie Spencer and Bruce Lipton and Greg Braden coming up with all this science, this truth about the quantum field and how we can access this energy at will. Uh, and where meditation is such an important component of accessing our true potential or our uh, powerful consciousness or our superpower or super consciousness. Yeah, there's many words for it, but it's your divinity, and each and every one of us has living and breathing the universe. We're all part of the creator, part of the universe, and all we need to do to know that is breathe the energy of the universe and let go. The nervous system then relaxes and allows us to be present in what we're trying to create for ourselves, whether that be trying to reduce your anxiety levels or trying to just create something for yourself, because normally the blockers are created through thought, and those thoughts are beliefs and conditioning of the past. So we can tune into that and say to ourselves, what is it that I need to release from? What's stopping me from accessing my divinity or my super consciousness? And once we start asking, the universe just aligns us with the right energy. So I guess for all of us, we're all learning how to communicate and how to tap into this energy. But yeah. But we were talking about your mala before we came on, which was lovely. Looks beautiful. And I said to Laurie, I don't know if many people understand what the malas are designed for. Yeah, in a spiritual practice of meditation.
Could you explain that?
Yeah, so the malas were designed, they're used in many cultures, in many religions. It's for when they're saying their mantras, going into their meditation. So, for example, I think it's Greece where you'll see the males walking around with a shorter mala, but they know they must do it many times because the idea is to do it, chant it to yourself 108 times. So the mala has beads, so we can move the beads. I don't know if you can see this, but I actually have one on my phone. It's for my wrist. Oh, actually, I might use my headband. So if you could imagine these were little beads and you'd say I was going Ganesh, so for the root chakra to clear any obstacles, any stress or worry or any anxieties from my root chakra, my energy center, I would be going Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha, Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha, Om Gam Ganapataya. And if you can see what I'm doing, I'm moving every time I chant. I move one. And then the idea is to do it. The mala, the neck for around the neck should have 108 beads. So by the time you get to the end, you've chanted 108. They say that's many times of repetition. You need to say it for it to access the subconscious and the consciousness to really let that settle inside the body. So that's what malas are used for. And I think back in the day, thousands of years ago, they weren't that attractive. So they decided to, let's make them like jewelry. And then, women will wear them more and, people will wear them more. But that's the
Match your outfits and
understanding.
stuff.
Yeah, and you
That's
might
great.
notice in India, I mean, I'm only wearing two, but A lot of Indian women, you'll see they have lots of bracelets and they wear anklets on both ankles, and that's to stimulate the nervous system. So as the bracelets move up and down like that, they're actually helping, like stimulating the nervous system, as in it's like a little massage or massaging the mama points or the meridians by moving up and down. It's the same with the ankles. They're actually massaging and causing a stimulation to the nervous system. And it was the article I read, the research I'd done said that in India, thousands of years ago, when the husband used to go off and be like the hunter-gatherer, and the wife would get very anxious while he was gone, maybe 24 hours, maybe longer. So that's why they were designed to help the wife as she was getting around, keeping the house and getting it ready for the husband's return. It would help her with her anxiety. So, yeah, it's really, really interesting.
That's
But I
so
love the
interesting. I had
Indian
no
culture and the
idea.
jewelry.
I thought it was
Yeah,
just to keep track of the chants to do it 108 times.
yeah.
And it's so funny that you started with the Ganesha chant, of course, because it's the root, but that is the one chant that I couldn't get out of my head. I was walking around saying it over and over and over. It was just Om Gom Ganapate Namaha.
Yeah, it's very powerful. It's a very, yeah, it's a very powerful mantra. And another powerful mantra, I can't put my hands on the book at the moment, but Greg Braden wrote a book called The Wisdom Codes. And in those wisdom codes, he studied like a lot of mantras. And the most powerful mantra out of all of them, which if you want to elevate your consciousness into super consciousness, is the Gayatri mantra. So it's and when you chant that, apparently when you chant it like 108 times, I play it in my home sometimes and just let it play over and over. And then I'll join in with the mantra, and apparently it just clears and cleanses all the negative energy from within. So very, very powerful. I think the Indian philosophy is a great starter for anyone that wants to start learning more about their chakra system, their energy centers, and meditation, because these are really powerful mantras. And if science or people like Greg Braden are saying, wow, these are so powerful, these mantras, I mean, there's testing, they test them. So, yeah.
That's
And the
amazing. I
mantra
mean,
for the Gayatri mantra is Om Bhur Bhuva Swaha. Yeah.
so you
It's a
know them all
hard
by
one. I
heart?
remember it's taken me ages to actually get the words of some of them, not all. Some of them are part of Kundalini. So they're a Kundalini practice where you chant as well as doing your mudras and, pumping the breath. So there's a combination of breath work and mantra and meditation, combining it and just moving the body. And the science now, the new science is saying that's what we need to do. Like if you, when I studied Psych K, which is actually Bruce, I mentioned it in the last talk that we did. Bruce Lipton is the ambassador, but part of accessing the consciousness and the super consciousness, because the subconscious, you must access the subconscious to open it up and then put the new mantra or statement that you want to create in. And it's saying it by repetition, but a lot of it is using the philosophy of mantra. So your mantra might be, if you've got anxiety, it might be just calming yourself down, gently closing your eyes, listening to some beautiful music that's very calming and soothing, and then connect with your breath and start to just say to yourself, because you're accessing consciousness when you say the statement, is I am safe. Now, that's no different really than saying Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. It's it's telling the body we are safe. There's no need to go into and activate the stress hormone or the nervous system and go into fight or flight, because we are safe. But what's happening is something's triggered the subconscious to say, get ready, we've got to fight or flight. Where if we're aware and we can do our self-intervention, so this is why meditation is so powerful. We've got time to stop and pause and breathe and do our meditation, our mantra, whatever that is, whether it's Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha or a traditional one, or whether you want to say it in English, I am safe, or I am, and you could put an end in it. I am safe. Like you're telling the body, I am safe. And I am connected to divinity, or I am divinity, you could say to yourself, because I am is consciousness, making that conscious decision, saying, I am this, whatever you want to be. And then, yeah, then you move into your super consciousness where you are creating from that space of calmness, because you cannot, and science says this as well, you cannot create from a place of stress. You cannot manifest your desires from a place of stress and worry or anxiety. Yeah. So it's blessing it when it comes and then moving into I am safe. So you're giving it something new. Yeah, and telling the body we're okay. You and I. So you have to talk to the body like your spiritual, super consciousness, consciously doing an intervention to change something that's in the subconscious and teach the body something new. Yeah, and Dr. Joe Dispenza has great free materials online too,
I listen to
and little
him
short
almost every
podcasts you
day.
can listen to about that. But it's understanding our body. Yeah. So it's understanding our system. So if we looked at the universe or the planet is, and the universe is all around the planet, but within our planet, there's systems that we have to conform to on it, and it's socially, legally. There's all these rules and systems in place, education systems, uh, bank systems, government systems, all mandates. They're systems. Then we have all these systems inside our body, but we're not taught to go in and listen to those systems. We're taught to just follow the systems outside yourself. So when we meditate, we're coming back in and we're connecting to those systems, hormonal system, the nervous system, respiratory system. There's many, endocrine system, which is hormones. So we look at cellular systems. So we're connecting with all those systems and we're starting to consciously wake it up and bring in that new energy of super consciousness, which is, I know I am connected to all things. I understand the universe and how it works, the wisdom, the insight, how it comes through, and many, many other things. But that's super consciousness. And that's where we all would like to be. So we're not looking outside ourselves to find answers. They're all inside us. We were born with this knowledge. We brought it in as a soul. Yeah, we have the wisdom. Yeah.
There's one of Dr. Joe Dispenza's quotes that has stuck with me that,
So isn't that great?
so good. It's also good. And, I don't know why I never heard it before. I guess I was never ready until I started on this path. But Dr. Joe Dispenza, you know, our personality is our personal reality.
Yeah.
And we can change our lives by focusing inside into our subconscious and creative mind, our higher self. And it eluded me for so many years, and I'm so grateful that now in my 70s, I've learned how to live for the rest of my life,
Yeah.
however long I'm on the planet.
I think, yeah, what's interesting, I think, is people are waking up. There's many people across the planet that are now waking up, meaning more self-awareness, more self-care, more listening to that inner voice rather than external voice. And that's what self-awareness, waking up, actually means. I'm awakened because now I know the truth. Yeah.
It's so
And
amazing
that
because it's a
truth,
daily practice,
or
right?
that, yeah, it is. You're constantly, I know for me, and I'm sure many others do this, you're constantly observing, becoming the observer of thought and body. And when we start to recognize that as there's something in this, and this is what happened to me, like I had the near-death experience, and I remember the one thing that I did see was my body on the bed, and there was no pain anymore. And now when I've researched it over time and over years, and what I've learned and working with people is we are not the body, we are spirit. And that spirit is with us all the time. That's the part of us that is the universe. And that if we're looking at, if we're using that, meaning our spirit, our soul, to become the observer of looking at the thought, and then knowing that that thought puts feelings, activates feelings throughout the body, which activates systems within the body, respiratory system, nervous system, in this case, let's say nervous system, to bring on anxieties of any description or scarcity or lack. We've got to be constantly working and be as the observer, the guru, and looking at thought and feeling in the body and then changing it, doing a self-intervention. And okay, what's my statement or my affirmation or my mantra, which are all basically the same, am I going to say, because thought and feeling is telling me I'm not that. So fear, I'm anxiety at the moment because I'm in all this stuff. Well, if we looked at the anxiety with the thought and feeling and said, okay, I'm going to change that because I feel that's not good for me in my body, because many things, maybe the heart's going fast or the head's just, the thoughts are just overriding everything, your reality. And if you looked at it going, I'm going to calm you right down. And I do tell some of my clients, if you struggle with that, lie down if you can and take a nap. Because the brain, when you take a nap and the body relaxes, your brain steps into another state and it allows you to calm. And look, sometimes it's not easy. I mean, I had anxiety for many years and it still comes and goes. I got in a lift yesterday that was inside a rock. Here, it's a place in Bali called Bamboo Inda. And I got in the lift, and it's only really made for one or two people. It's round. I'm going like that because it's round. And they've drilled into the rock and put the lift in there. So you can put your finger through the hole in the lift and touch the rock. I was okay going
Oh,
down, but when I came up, it was kinking and it was moving. And I'm going, oh my God, I'm going to get stuck. And by the time I got off, and it was only like 30 seconds, if that, I was all sweaty. And I'm going, get me out of here. And it was panic. But I remember my thoughts when I was in it. And it was just instant through the body, panic. And then I started sweating and I was trying very hard. They had beautiful crystals in the wall as I was going up. And I'm going, oh, there's a crystal. That crystal's so beautiful. And I'm trying to override what was happening, but I just couldn't until I stepped off and I felt safe. I mean, I was safe inside it, but I didn't feel safe because it started kinking. And then I remembered about a year ago in Bali, a lift gave way when it was going up, and it was an accident happened, and the lift actually collapsed, and people were uh, just a horrible accident. And that was in my mind. So that was
oh,
planted in my subconscious from something, an article I read a year ago. and I was being triggered. Make sense? And I'm
Yeah.
going, oh my God, I could have, if I would have known, but I do know now, if I get into a lift and I don't feel safe, I must do some kind of intervention. Because if you go up, you've got to come down. So I thought, if I go down in the lift, I've got to come up. So next time, if that happens, and I've been trapped in a lift before for 30 minutes and in the darkness, and I actually thought I was going to die in there. So all these sorts of things. Yeah, because I managed to get through to someone. I pushed a button when there was light. And my phone went flat as well. And then I had no signal and all sorts of things were happening. I was
Oh,
calm. But when I was sitting there in black darkness, it seemed like forever, but it was about 30 minutes. But all sorts of things were happening. I'm going to die now. I'm going to run out of oxygen. It's funny how the mind just goes. But if we can learn to just through our day, I don't mean like those sort of things can be catastrophic for people, but if we can learn to through our days, we go on our day, why am I feeling this way? What are my thoughts doing right now? We'll probably find there's just these little small things that come into thought, but they're activating something in the body and they're really not good. They're not of they're not good for you or anyone around you because you're accessing something within the body, an old memory that's not really happening in this moment. So that's why when we do a self-intervention, we're pausing, looking at it just for a few seconds and going, am I safe right now? 9 times out of 10, we are safe. We're not in an elevator that's kinking or scary. We're just going about a normal day and going, oh, why am I having that thought? It's something, it may be a smell that's triggered something of the past. It might be just the eye scan something just quickly and go, oh, takes you straight to that thought of 10 years ago or 20 years ago or as a child, and accessing the trauma, but you're actually safe. You're safe. And the news and newspapers, what's in there are what activates and triggers us. Yeah.
definitely.
And if we're aware that that's happening, the more of us that are aware that when we read something, we're going to have a reaction to what we've read. And rather than read things that are out on social media that are negative, wouldn't you rather grab something that's really peaceful and loving and kind? Because that's loving yourself. And you're also going to speak to the body in a loving, kind way because you're reading something that's really love and about kindness and in creating inner peace. Yeah. That
I
side of it's
only
very,
listen to
very simple.
meditations now
I
or
guess
quiet
for
music, exactly what you're talking about.
yeah. Yeah,
So,
wouldn't it be
how do you do
great
a
if there was a TV
self-intervention?
station that went all over the world where you
How do
would
you how do you do a
pause? You
self-intervention?
first have to understand you need to stop, you need to pause and focus on the breath because your breath is what's going to heal the anxiety or the worry or the stress. It's what slows everything down. So, for example, if you use the nostrils to breathe in and then exhale through the mouth, it's a little bit like when people hyperventilate. And, they used to, I don't know if they still do it, they used to get a paper bag and put over the nose and the mouth. It's because you can't hyperventilate when there's something there. Hang on, is it the nose and the mouth? Because I know when you breathe through the nostrils, you're actually using the left and right hemispheres of the brain. And that's what we want. We want a nice balance starting to come in. So it's, and then exhale through the mouth. But it's slowing everything down because your thoughts have activated something that's causing anxiety. So the self-intervention is I'm going to observe this thought. Actually, let me use my cup as a thought. So here's my thoughts in this cup. I'm looking at my thoughts and I'm asking, is this really happening right now? And 9 times out of 10, though, the subconscious will tell you yes, because it's their fault or they did this. And if you didn't know them or they didn't say that, you wouldn't be feeling this way. Well, that's not true. It's like, this is my body, my mind, my thoughts. I need to intervene and just look at the thought and allow whatever trigger comes up in the body to move and shift. So it's energy, right? Because it's a thought. Thoughts are energy, like everything is energy. So the energy behind the thought is, I'm scared, or I don't feel safe, or why are they doing that to me, or why did they speak to me that way? Well, how people do things to you or speak to you is not about you, it's about them. So it's about bringing yourself back to the self. So the self, that's the self-intervention. Stop, pause, take a moment to connect with the breath, and the healing starts, because you're slowing everything down and not in fight or flight, because in fight or flight, everything gets access. Your internal organs, your cells, even your blood receives toxins in that moment of stress. So if we can slow everything down, we start to reverse it.
That is such a
Hence,
beautiful.
nourishing the body, self-soothing the body.
I've never heard it explained that way, but it's such a great way to think about it.
Yeah. I mean, why wouldn't you want to be feeding your body? It's not just about food, good food. Good food's important and nourishing the cells, but so is words and affirmations, mantras, good things. How can I nourish myself today? I don't feel good. What am I going to say to myself? I'm going to look at my thoughts, look at my environment. What's happening? Change it. I mean, you could, nature will change your environment. If you're in a bad environment, go for a walk in nature. You're going to access sentient beings, other plants and the trees. I was hugging after I did my quantum flow class this morning. I started hugging trees, and I took my shoes off and put my feet on the soft grass and just hugged the tree for a couple of minutes. But that's so grounding and soothing. And it's like a natural medicine. Yeah. And all we're doing is breathing and slowing everything down. I love this analogy that Rosie used in Psych K, the facilitator, and she said, it's like we used to spread the butter on the bread really fast and then eat the bread, when we're hungry. But now we've got to spread the butter slowly, because we don't have to do things fast. Multitasking is not our natural way.
I love that explanation. I love it. So,
So a natural way is to spread the butter on the bread slowly.
well, there's really no other way to do it, right? Got to be patient.
Yeah. And I can remember as a child, this was taught to me because I have 3 siblings, 3 sisters, and our mum and dad both worked, and everything had to be like a lot of structure in the family for things to happen. But everything was always done fast, and all you would hear was mum and dad all the time, hurry up, you're too slow, blah, blah, blah. And that was constant. And then you learn to do it fast with anxiety. You had to. That's what you were told. And if you weren't fast, you'd be ridiculed. And why are you taking so slow, so long to do that? And even teachers at school, I can remember, it was always who's finishing first, and they would be the kids that got the jelly bean. And I was always in the middle, mediocre. And I never got a jelly bean, neither did the kids that were last. It puts you in this state of, I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy.
You're so
Yeah,
right.
I'm not good
I
enough
spent
to
my
even
life
receive a
rushing.
jelly bean.
I spent my life
Yeah.
rushing and hurt myself.
So,
So you're so
yes, and it
right.
makes you sick because,
Mhm.
yeah, we're not taught just to, it's okay, take your time. You've still got time to get it finished. And if you don't finish it, it's okay. Like the world's not going to end because you didn't get finished. But yeah, there's all these rules, fast, 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 hurry up. And if you don't, a bit like in COVID in Australia, panicked by toilet paper. I couldn't believe that was happening. Seeing that on videos, I thought that's a joke, but it wasn't a joke because the media was saying we're going to run out of food, you're going to run out of essentials. So people just stripped the shelves.
I know people were
Yeah.
fighting over
And
stuff like that.
that's, yeah, well, that's anxiety, activating the nervous system. And that's what they wanted. Like they wanted us to all be nervous and in fear, but we've come out of it the other side going, hang on, hang on. We've had time to breathe. See, we had to slow down, breathe, look at things, what's really happening and how it's affecting us. So that would be a positive that I would pull out of uh, COVID. It gave not only the planet, but the population of the planet time to settle and breathe. Although a lot of people probably won't agree, going because it was family things happening, but at least you got an opportunity to see how people behaved that are supposed to be running our country and have our best interest at heart. We had time to settle into that and form a different perspective. Yeah.
Were you in
So
Australia
all
during
this is
COVID?
like slow down, take your time. Take No, I was here. I was on one of the last flights back from Australia to Bali before we went into lockdown, and then I didn't move from Bali for 2 years. Yeah,
Wow.
so I was
Have
here.
you been in Bali?
But Bali, it didn't miss out on. Yeah, Bali. I mean, Bali was probably one of the best places to be because there's an abundance of food here. There's a lot of farmers here that you could get your food supplies as long as it was vegan very easily and quickly and cheap. So I guess Bali was a good place to be, but there was a lot of restrictions, which Balinese and foreigners aren't used to here. So we couldn't go to the beach, and if you were arrested, and different things were happening. So I don't think it mattered where you were in the world, unless you're in the Amazon jungle or somewhere like that. It affected everyone. So yeah.
It was so crazy in the US.
So
The
and that's
states,
I think when
oh, I cut out for a second. In the US, the states that were not Democrat didn't get that kind of news. They didn't have lockdown. They weren't living in fear. It was a whole different thing. But
yeah,
it
and
was just
they
so surreal
survived. Yeah,
because they weren't scared.
but I think that's when yes, and I think that's when meditation now is just as popular as yoga because people come out the other side a different way and felt a different way. And they wanted more about meditation. They wanted to know how we do this. How do I stop stressing? How do I stop worrying? Because worry and stress actually doesn't live in a body full of love. It's impossible. So it's about how do I love myself more? Well, I would say meditation is the biggest and most foremost thing you can do for yourself on a in a daily practice to love yourself more because it allows you just to be with yourself, become the observer of your thoughts. What are my thoughts doing? And they might be saying, oh, you've only got 10 minutes, so hurry up. because you've got to prepare dinner for the family, or might be you've only got 10 minutes, so just hurry up. And the subconscious is always talking and it doesn't settle. But then if you pull consciousness in order and in to go into super consciousness, you would say, even though I only have 2 minutes, this 2 minutes is going to give me an opportunity to tune in to my divine self. I've got 2 minutes. How great is that? See how that creates a new perspective, a new perception, a new thought. Hence, the body feels better receiving that message than a message like, oh, you've only got 2 minutes, hurry up. Yeah. It's like if we get caught in traffic. When I ride a scooter around Bali, and if I get caught in traffic, which happens a lot, I look up at the sky and I go, how great is this? I have an opportunity to stop and pause and breathe, even if it's for 10 seconds. Because what happens is we learn, the body and mind learn by repetition. And even if that's done for 5 or 10 seconds, eventually the body's just going to start doing this automatically in a new way, where you just have to look at the clouds and the body's in it. You know, the change is very quick. Yeah.
How
So
long
we
have you
must
been
keep up our
meditating?
practice.
When did you start meditating?
Oh, about 30 years ago, when I worked for Queensland Health, there was this psychologist who used to do free meditations. And I used to go every opportunity I can. And I didn't really understand because it wasn't explained. Okay, you're meditating. Actually, I remember I was doing it and it was like I was asleep sitting up, but I was somewhere else and I wasn't in the room, but I didn't know where I was. And I remember telling someone about that, a counselor actually, and she said, a colleague, and she said, oh, that's not meditation, it's relaxation. And look, there's no difference because if you can get the body into a state, and then when she said that, that's why I was saying that. I thought I was doing something wrong. Well, in meditation, there is no right or wrong, there just is. So what you're doing is becoming the observer of the mind. So you can then empower yourself. And the more you do this, I've got 2 minutes, I'm going to meditate, and I'm going to do that by looking at the clouds, perhaps. And I'm going to see what the clouds are going to send me today. And you might start visualizing little images like shapes of dogs, shapes of hearts, but you'll find stories in the clouds. Well, in that moment, you're in consciousness. So you've already made the change. You're not thinking about, I've got to get to my work, or I'm going to get stuck here, or, oh, it's too hot waiting in traffic, or something from the past. You're actually in the moment. And that's the key. Stop, breathe, and observe not only the thoughts, the body, but what I'm actually observing outside of my body and mind. Yeah.
What do we see? What do we hear? What do we feel?
Yeah. That's the senses. Activate the senses. What am I hearing right now? Oh, I'm hearing all these cars and scooters whizzing past me on the other side of the road. Oh, it's not good. And then I go, yeah, what if I said, wow, that's an interesting sound. All those scooters harmonizing together. How interesting. See how it's changing? It's changing actually the biochemistry in the body. It's changing the physiological side of the body. So you're not physically reacting and stress like this and tightening up. It's like, I'm just going to observe. Yeah. We miss so many things because we don't observe and we don't feel and just listen to what the body's saying. We just in a rush sometimes. And for many of us, because we're getting around our day, and sometimes our days are really busy, and we're trying to get all these things done. And if we start looking and going, you know, I achieved 5 things today out of my 10 things on my list. Maybe I wasn't meant to do the other 5 today. Maybe I'm meant to do that tomorrow, because when overnight things change and new things, new opportunities have a chance to come forth. So maybe it's meant to be that way. Yeah.
Focusing on the present moment, the only thing that we can
Yeah.
control.
Yes, that's it. And that is the key. Who am I right now? What am I in? What am I hearing? What am I seeing? What am I feeling? What am I even food? What am I tasting? Or am I tasting a taste in my mouth? Because some people describe anxiety as I can taste metal in my mouth, and that's highly possible. Or they can taste something from the past. It's a memory of the past, maybe as a child, say as a child for childhood trauma. And they might have smelt something in the air that activated the taste buds, which activated a memory of the past. It's a little bit like I I lived near as a child, lived near the abattoirs, and you could always smell. There was a certain unique smell, and I didn't know as a kid. You just got on with it because oh, that's the abattoirs, and didn't know that that was the smell of feces and urine and blood and all mixed together. It's got a unique smell. And if I smell it now, and I do sometimes, and you think, oh, I know that smell, and it's like, oh, how can I make this useful? And then I just say, oh, it's just reminded me when I was a kid, when I was happy and running around and having fun. So you just change it. Yeah.
It's amazing what our minds can do.
Oh, the mind is so powerful. It's so powerful. It actually controls us if we let it. So the key is to now observe it and look at it and go, do I want to change it or do I want to stay in it? And we can use this for everything because if you're, for example, if you're in a relationship and you have an argument with your partner or your wife, or you're married and your wife or your husband or your children or whatever, you don't really know how that has affected them or what they're going to do, but most of the time the mind will want to work on revenge or how to get them back or how to hurt them for what they said, or it says all the negative things. But if we come into the heart and say, well, what do I really want? I want a loving, kind resolution here with peace. Just aim for a win-win with peace. Then you think with the heart, how do I'll say sorry for what I said, and then maybe I will get a sorry back. If I don't, it doesn't really matter. At least I know I've cleared my energy. So we don't want to hold resentment and anger and things like that in our bodies. And that's the way to release it. What if I stepped into my heart and just breathed for a moment and looked at my heart? The intelligence of the heart is purity. It's love and kindness. It's peace. We are not taught to think with our heart. We're taught to think with our mind, with our subconscious. But if we said, no, I'm going to start thinking with my heart, what would your heart say? It'd say, don't worry. You got this. You're loved. You're part of everything, part of nature, part of the sky, the beautiful clouds, your water, like a beautiful ocean. Like it would start telling you things. So we see things in a different way rather than listen to the subconscious and the consciousness of that, what's actually happening, telling us that it's true or making us feel like it's true when it's not true. Yeah.
It's all so interesting and complicated, but simple at the same time.
Yes, it's so simple. Like Einstein has a good quote about keeping things simple, but he says if you can't explain it simply, you don't understand it. And I use that now in my teachings because some people are very analytical, and if they don't have the science and the evidence, they just can't get there, and that's okay. But when I start mentioning Einstein, what he said, if you can't explain it simply, you don't really understand it. I say my teachings are very simple because I find, especially with Sanskrit, people just won't go there. But if I get Sanskrit and I translate it into English, like Om Gam Ganapate Namaha to I am safe, I am the universe, and all these beautiful things, I am the light, people get that. They might not want Om Gam Ganapate Namaha, but you're working with the same energetics. So what does it matter whether it's Sanskrit or whether it's in English? It doesn't really matter as long as we understand the philosophies and where it come from and that it works. Yeah.
Thank you so much for explaining that to me. I knew the words, but I had no idea what they meant.
Yeah, you're more or less, as you say the mantra, you're telling the nervous system and the root chakra, which is where we hold all that, where we activate the nervous system, to let go, basically. That's all you're doing. And you're doing it with breath. With your mantra is with breath, because normally the facilitator is guiding that Om Gam Gana Pate Namaha, and it'll in the beginning they'll tell you, the teacher will tell you to relax, take a deep breath in, inhale and exhale. But they often use the word prana, and I'm going to say this again. I know I said it on the last talk, but your prana is your breath. Your prana is your life force. It is your light. It's a stepping stone to the soul, to the spirit. And all you're doing is slowly and gently. Yeah.
Is prana the same as chi?
Yeah. Ki, chi, life force, energy, same thing. So you're getting only in Chinese medicine. So if we looked at the difference between, say, if it was yoga, we're doing asana. If it was Chinese medicine and working with qi, we'd be using qi as the energy, means the same as prana or air, oxygen. And we're not doing asanas, we're doing movement, like push the energy away, the worry and stress. Bring in, and they do a lot of movement around the heart. So breathing into the chest. They're not actually saying it, but that's what they're doing with their hands. And it's always like slow movement because, yeah. And Reiki. So ki is chi and prana and breath, all the same. So that's what you're doing. You're moving the energy. Oh, I just felt that heat. And with Reiki, so ki being the word like chi, if you practice, just practice doing this, a few times a day, you're going to expand. That's expansion. You're expanding the energy around you. And all you're doing is deep breath in with the prana, the air, oxygen, and exhale. Yeah, like that. Yeah. So you're using the physical body to help move the energy. And hence, elevate your emotions so you're not attached to an emotion that doesn't serve your highest goodness. You're attaching it to I am free in my chi, you could say. That's a nice affirmation. I don't know where that come from, but I am free in my
My
chi.
chi, I love that. I am free in my chi.
In my chi or my ki, like Reiki. Yeah.
Is that where Tai Chi as well? Tai Chi and Qigong?
Pardon?
Is that where Tai Chi
Yeah.
and
So
Qigong?
Tai Chi is Tai. Yeah, Tai Chi is Tai. Yeah, and Qigong is Qi Gong. So that's more what's that one? I think it's Buddhism, Qigong. Because they're using the gong, they use it for that's sound actually. That's a vibrational frequency of sound that comes from the gong. And it's set by the master. So Qi Gong is bringing in Qi is the energy that you want to bring into the class. Qi Gong. or sound healing holds a frequency. That frequency holds is connected to the emotion, the energy moving from within and around. So the frequency can be a nice balanced emotion, which is fun and joy and calm and softness, to one that's regulated and the nervous system's activated, which is low vibrational frequency of stress and worry, and I'm angry and I'm sad, and yeah. All these are validated, though, these emotions. They're all valid in certain times, but if we hold them, we're doing an injustice and in service to ourselves. We're not being of service to the self. We're being of service to someone else or something else that has activated us. And it's a good thing when they do that, because you breathe, stop, breathe, and pause and go, I now have a few moments to heal this emotional wound within me and elevate my emotions back to my high energy, my high frequency state, which is consciousness moving into super consciousness. Yeah. So in spirit, for those who like psyches and I guess people that have had NDEs and people that meditate, they know the frequency of what elevates their emotion and puts them into a higher realm, to the super consciousness or the quantum field. I mean, they're all the same thing. And that is not taking on thought as a truth. Just let it be there. Let it be. So I used to teach this years ago, but I used to say, for the metaphor, for the guys in the class, pretend you're Paul McCartney, because it doesn't really matter. The mind does not know truth from not truth. Pretend you're Paul McCartney singing Let It Be. And you're singing it to you. You're singing it to yourself. And for the girls, become Elsa from Frozen. Let it go, let it go. And do that. Because in that moment, you're changing everything. You're changing thought, you're changing the physiology of the body, you're manifesting from a different state in that moment. Yeah.
You know, I have never taken to any
And if you,
course or way of thinking the way I've taken to the whole world of meditation and mindfulness and breath work. And
yeah.
it's amazing that for a long time, I thought that I couldn't focus on anything and that I couldn't learn anything. And it's such a beautiful experience. It has been such a beautiful experience. And the community that it builds is,
And that's the, yeah. And Laurie, I think that's the key, knowing that. So that's wisdom. Yeah. Insight.
insight.
Yeah.
Kerry,
And
I
when we
am
have
so
insight and
thrilled.
wisdom coming through, we're elevating.
There's a shift, they say, a shift to higher consciousness,
Yeah. So they call
ascension.
the shift. Yes. Yes.
It's
They all mean the same. So a shift is an ascension. It means the same thing. I am ascending. I am elevated. I'm elevating my emotions. I'm moving up into super consciousness where all there is peace, love, and harmony in this moment. I am in my truth, in my true element. And why wouldn't you want to stay in that for as long as you can? Yeah,
meditation is a superpower.
it is a superpower. We've got superfoods to keep the cells nourished, but we also need superpower meditation. That might be a new meditation we can create. Well, let's teach you how to step into your superpower.
Let's do it. Your higher self, your superpower. elevate your chi.
Yeah.
So, Kerry,
Yeah,
I'm
because
getting
if
on a
you've got the
plane.
right music, sorry.
Oh, no, no, no. I'm sorry. There's a little delay.
Yeah.
I'm getting on a plane to Miami on Monday to go meet our founder, Kevin, and his family. And I haven't been on a plane for 6 years. And so I don't have a fear of it. I'm actually looking forward to unplugging and just relaxing with my eye pillow
Yeah.
and my headphones and listening to some guided meditation.
Um,
Could you do one for us today on letting go of anxiety, like what you call your intervention?
yes. So we look at anxiety. I think in this case, because it's been 6 years, maybe start to set yourself up, set the foundations. And part of that is using visualization. In your meditation, start to imagine yourself sitting on the plane, buckled up, sitting beside a beautiful soul where you're having this loving conversation, someone who's in alignment with you and who you are. And it doesn't matter what age or what sex, don't even go there, just let it happen. You're just sitting next to a beautiful soul. The plane takes off. You manage to see the captain before the plane takes off, and you go, oh, I'm just going to send him loving prayers. What I do, every flight that I go on, I pray for the plane. I pray for all the ground crew. I pray for the crew that are on board, the flight attendants, and especially the captain. And then I surround the whole plane in light. And I talk to the angels. Thank you for being with me, with all of us here on the plane today. And may we all have a safe journey and land safely to see our loved ones at the other end or wherever we may need to go. So all these things are telling the body it's okay. We're going to have fun with this. Yeah. And I always smile at the flight attendants. And they remember that, flight attendants, I think sometimes get a rough end of the deal in their job. But if you are, for me, I just smile at them, always say something nice about to them. And not only do they love that you say that, they'll often come over to check on you and make sure you're okay. And next minute you're having a conversation. And I usually say to them, do you know you have got one of the best jobs in the world? And most of them say, oh, I don't know about that. And I go, you know what? You're up here flying with the angels every day. You're up here in the universe. How good is that? Yeah. And they love that. I've often got a free glass of red wine for doing this on my flights. Yeah, not that I want it. I don't ask for it.
Well, I'm
Oh,
flying
yeah,
at
I'd
9
just
in the
like a
morning,
wine
so.
or something. But oh, yeah. No, but I'm just saying, kindness. What we put
Yeah.
out comes back. And maybe in one of my flights, I was thinking, oh, I might have a red wine before I stepped onto the plane when I get on the plane. And that's just manifested because I've just shared how I feel because I love flying. But there has been times I remember years ago when I had anxiety. I remember sitting near the wing and I don't know what happened. I just had a thought that the wing was going to fall off. And I don't know where that come from. I'd flown on thousands of
When
flights
the plane was
before and
going
I
like
just
this.
panicked and my palms, yeah, something triggered something within me. But it's just a thought, a bit like the elevator ride yesterday. Something triggered something in me when I was going up because it was kinking, like jumping a little bit. And I was being triggered, like I was going to die in that elevator. That's how quick it came on. And we never know, right? We just need to be prepared. How do I manage this? Once I was off, I was able to regulate and bring my nervous system back into balance again very quickly. And that's okay if we can do that. But if we can't, who's there to help with that? If you're by yourself. I wasn't by myself. I had friends there, but I remember one friend saying, "Oh, the elevator's fine." She was more or less saying, why are you doing that, behaving that way? But it was something I was going through rather than say, it's okay. If you say to someone, you're going to be okay, they take that on board. They're going to be okay and they feel safe and nurtured. But if we say things to them about that's silly and, oh, why are you thinking like that? And why are you talking like that? Why are you sweating? Well, because I don't feel right.
Mhm.
We don't question it. Some people do, they just question, how can that person be like that? But obviously they're going through something, and people
Yeah.
if people maybe react in different ways. Maybe they think that you don't deserve something and they deserve it more. Well, that's jealousy. And that's coming from more than likely when they were a child, and that's all they've learnt, to be jealous, and because they've never had what they wanted as a child. There's many, many reasons, but we should not put out negative things to negative people. They too are suffering in their own right and they react around us in different ways. So when we need love and reassurance, sometimes we don't get it. So we need to be ready with our tools to look after thyself and do our own self-intervention. Yeah. Because sometimes no one's coming. Yeah. And no one's there. And we've got to live with that if we're going to keep ourselves elevated. And look, truthfully, I say to myself now, I'm never alone because I'm connected to the Creator. I'm connected to Source. I am part of the universe. I'm not alone. And that brings me back. Yeah.
I love that. So can you guide us in a short meditation to let go of fear?
Sure. I'm just thinking, have you got music on hand, or do we need it or not?
Um,
The only reason why I'm asking is with music, helps stimulate the nervous system, but I can do it without. It's okay.
okay, let's
Next
see.
time, if we do one, let's have some music ready.
Well,
So we just want
we're gonna do
soft,
more. This will be the first of
good.
many. But let's see, if I
Great.
switch this back to my computer, I may be able,
Oh, I'm still here. Can you hear me?
yes. Okay, let's see if I
Okay.
can find the
I'm
music.
just turned around and I've got a little water machine behind me.
Oh, good,
So,
that's so convenient. Okay, let's,
so if you put the music on, Laurie, I'll tune into it and we can take it from there because I'll just
okay.
drop into it. I'll channel.
All right, I'm just trying to figure out how to put on the music.
And for those who would like to get ready while we're waiting for the music, maybe just focus on your two nostrils, that you're looking at your two nostrils, you're observing them, and then you're observing the breath coming in to both nostrils. And just stay with that for a moment. And slowing the breath right down, and we'll try and get some music.
Looking for something to put on right now, this maybe we'll hear it.
Okay, wonderful.
Okay, let's see. I don't know if you'll be able to hear it, but you'll tell me.
It's okay. I'm not hearing
I will get
anything,
this.
but that's
That's
okay. We
because I
might
didn't
keep
put it
going.
on yet. Okay, let's see.
Oh, okay.
Can you hear it? No?
No,
Oh, I don't know how to put it on. But I can play it while I
that's all
listen to
right.
you.
Okay. And others might hear it just because I'm not, but others may. And I'm sure we can fix that in the future. So focusing on both nostrils, relaxing the shoulders and allowing your breath. As the observer, you're looking and you're feeling your breath coming in through both nostrils, down the back of your throat. And you're now inside your throat, and you're going to move down to your lungs, and you're going to look at your lungs and watch them expand. Notice your lungs expanding. Do 1 or 2 breaths in through the nostrils and exhale through the mouth as you tell your whole body to relax. As the body relaxes, you'll feel a shift of letting go. The shoulders relaxing, the body, the stomach, you'll feel it just relax, and you'll move into maybe like you're going off to sleep in that state of relaxation. Keep breathing. Stay with your breath in and out, watching and observing your lungs expanding, your rib cage. And then you notice all your cells inside your body. They're smiling like little emojis on your phone, and they're smiling back at you. All these cells are healthy and happy. They're all inside you. Take a moment to integrate these new feelings. You're in control. You're looking at your cells, your body, noticing your breath. And now let's look at the heart inside your body or around your chest, and gently whisper to your heart, my heart, I thank you, my heart, for your wisdom, for your knowledge, for your knowing. My heart, I thank you, thank you, thank you, my heart. And now I'd like you to imagine yourself smiling. Smiling is pointing your lips to the heavens. And you're going to take that smile around your home, around your community. And you're going to imagine all your community smiling, and then expand that out to your country and then to the planet. You are now in super consciousness, creating a better world, not only for you and your community, but for the world. Have a beautiful, beautiful day. Namaste. Chinta, love. And that's how we love ourselves more with meditation. You want to love your blood, your organs, every part of you internally, and then bring it out and share it with the world, or share it around your community, to your loved ones, your family, and then to the world. That is
Like a
super
meta.
consciousness. That's going to create more peace on the planet. Yeah.
Kerry, thank you
And
so
that's how we
much.
create a better world, consciously. You're very welcome. Sending you lots of love and light, and a
You
beautiful,
too.
beautiful evening.
You too. Maybe next time we can go over the next chakra, the sacral chakra. I believe
Yes,
that's where we hold
we
our
will.
guilt.
Yes. And we can work through that. We must feel what guilt feels like first before we can shift it. Yeah. But I'm sure for many of us, we know what guilt and shame feels like. But what we don't know, I think, as we go about our day, when that guilt and shame comes in, we don't really resonate with it because we're not stopping and pausing, thinking, what am I going through right now? And a lot of it is guilt and shame from when we're a child. Yeah, because we were ridiculed and told we're not to do it that way, do it that way, or you're shamed or you're blamed or ridiculed. Teachers at school did the same thing. So, yeah.
Don't do that. Don't say that. Don't dress like that.
Mm.
Don't.
Yeah, you've got to look at where did this come from? Because you weren't born with it. And other people's, this is where we get into other people's perspective and opinions is just that. But if it's making me feel blame and shame and guilty, when I know deep in my heart I'm a good person, there's something about that that needs to be looked at. Yeah.
Self-forgiveness.
So the guilt, yes, that's right. Forgiveness and gratitude are the highest, like they put you back in the higher consciousness, the super consciousness. And we can do that next time as well. We need to, or maybe we can do
So
certain things every week.
have a great trip to
Forgiveness is
China.